Okay, so this is the third video for chapter 1, and then this is the last learning objective number 3. So in this learning objective, they want to explain how the AIS can add value to an organization, how it affects and is affected by the corporate strategy, the roles in the value chain. Okay, um, so in this learning objective number 3, basically we're going to look at the accounting information system as a whole. Alright, AIS. Okay, so what is the AIS? AIS, okay, by definition is the system that collects, records, stores, process data to produce information for decision makers. So if you look at the figure 1.4, you can see, you can visual, okay, from left to right. Okay, first data, AIS, okay, they collect all the data, okay, and then disseminate the information. So before disseminate, they of course they record, store and process, okay, and then the informations will be disseminated to the users, okay, and the users will use the information for decision making. Alright, so if we can relate back the in the figure that we discussed in the previous video, okay, in the figure 1.3, okay, whereby the AIS is represent the general ledger and reporting system. So AIS, they collect data from the various cycles, okay, and then the process data, and then they provide the information for both internal and external users of the system. Okay, so basically that's the definition of AIS. And then they have 6 components of AIS. Okay, first, people who operate the system and perform the functions of the system. Okay, the second one is procedure and instructions. Okay, both whether manual or automated. Okay, so involved in collecting, processing, storing data about the activities in the organizations. Okay, and then the third component is data, okay, about the organization, about the business process. Okay, then fourth is software. So software used to process the data. And then they have information technology infrastructure. So they need the infrastructure, for example, the hardware, the software, the network, okay, so that all those infrastructure used to collect, to store, to process, to transmit data and information. Right, then the last component is, this is the important part that we're going to discuss detail in our syllabus, is related to internal control and security measures that safeguard data in the AIS. Alright, so those are the 6 components that comprise of AIS. Okay, so these 6 components, okay, help the AIS to fulfill 3 important business functions. Okay, so this is 3 important business functions that will be fulfilled by the AIS. The first one, of course, the just now that we discussed, AIS is to collect and store data. So this is where the place to the system that collect and store data about the activities, about the data on the resources, data on the personnel. Okay, so all those related data. And then the second functions is transform data into information. So they process the data. So information, meaning here the useful information, so that the useful information can be used by the management to make decisions. Okay, so management can plan, can execute, can control, can evaluate all those activities, resources and personnel. Alright, and then the third important business function is to provide adequate control. As I mentioned earlier, this is the important parts of this AIS syllabus, AIS 615. Okay, to provide adequate control. So this is to safeguard the assets. Okay, assets here is not only asset, physical asset, include also data. Okay, data, to ensure that the asset and data are available when needed and the data are accurate and reliable. Okay, and then this is also we can relate to the 14 characteristic that we discussed earlier. Okay, so they have the AIS want to make sure the information or data can fulfill that useful information just now that we discussed. Alright, so this is where that you want to discuss detail in the chapter 8 until chapter 13. After this, ini yang you akan discuss further on this AIS 615. Alright. Okay, and then how does AIS can add value to organizations? So this is that when we have a well-designed AIS, okay, of course they can add value to organizations. How they can add value? So the first thing, they can improve the quality. Okay, can improve the quality and also can reduce the cost of product and services. And then can improve the efficiency. Okay, for example, the quality just now, the first value, okay, can improve the quality and reducing cost. Okay, whereby when they have a good system, they can monitor, for example, monitor the machinery. Okay, if let's say the machinery is not in a good condition, they can give notification. Okay, so then from there they can make sure the quality. Okay, make sure the quality, and also they can maintain, they can reduce waste, maintain quality, and also they can lower down the cost. Okay, and then efficiency, especially when they use the system, they can improve on in terms of information. They can provide timely information. Okay, for example, if they want to implement the just-in-time manufacturing approach, so the timely information is very important. So from there they can improve the efficiency of the business process. And then sharing knowledge. Okay, they can share knowledge or expertise between the companies, or between the competitors. Okay, or between the other one company to another company. Okay, and then improve efficiency, effectiveness of the supply chain. Okay, so supply chain here, they can allow customer to directly access the inventory, directly access the sales order entry system, so they can the customer itself, they can have the immediate information. So from here they can reduce sales and marketing costs. Okay, so about this supply chain, we're going to discuss detail after this. Okay, and then can improve improve the internal and control structure. Okay, so when they have a good AIS, of course they have the proper internal control. Okay, so when they have proper internal control, they can help to protect system from fraud, error, failure, or any disasters. Okay, and then also can improve the decision making lah. Alright, so decision makings we discuss detail here. Okay, whereby in this edition 15 edition, the books add more on the recent technology, okay, that relate to artificial intelligence, data analytics. Okay, so those information technology advancement, the AIS can use these advancements of technology to improve the decision making. Okay, if you refer your text, you can see the example. I will not go into details. Okay, so you can read through after this. For example, in the business, they can AI, okay, they can use robots to perform highly repetitive tasks. So they can so that they can serve better to the customer. Okay, and then they can serve better customer service, alright, by using the AI. And then in education also, okay, they can use AI software to automatically grading the students' work. Okay, evaluate their performance and so on. okay, and also in the area of finance and healthcare. Okay, so you can read through the example given in the text. And then data analytics also being using now, okay, to improve the decision making. So AIS also can use this data analytics. Okay, for example, at the basic level, can use the analytics to identify the problem or issue for the management to solve. Okay, at the intermediate level, analytics also can collect data needed to solve the problem, analyze it, and can make the recommendation to the management on how to resolve the problem. Okay, and then at the advanced level, they also can use the analytics to actionable insight to integrate into the system used to make the decisions. Alright, so those are the things that advancement technology that can be used by the AIS to improve the or to improve the decision making. Okay, so I advise you to read through the focus 1.2. This is a good example, the real example where the Walmart, they use the data analytics, okay, to improve their business process. Okay, and then you can see the impact of this data analytics to the business. Okay, so please read through the focus 1.2 at page 40. Okay, so I let you read through after this. Okay, you can do on your own. Okay, and then the text also in this 15th edition, they add also related to blockchain. Okay, blockchain and the AIS. So actually the blockchain ni is the decentralized ledger of all transactions. So meaning here actually the blockchain is the sort of database. Okay, they can store the transactions and decentralized. Okay, decentralized across the peer-to-peer network. Okay, so using this technology, the participant can confirm the transaction without the need for the central certifying authority. So in the text, actually, if you look through page 41, okay, they give you the how the blockchains work. Okay, and also actually I will give you two website, okay, for you to go into detail also to get more understanding what is the blockchain, how it works. Okay, so I want you to read on your own this one. Okay, and then actually they have a lot of advantages of using this blockchain. For example, the transaction can be verified by many thousands of network computers, so this can make sure the accuracy, is more transparent. Data that stored in the blockchain are transparent, and also can make sure the consistency of data. Okay, ensure trusted, the networks can be trusted, and then they no need for the third parties. Then they have a single set of books. Okay, and also eliminate the cost of human third party verification. Okay, and then decentralized storing data transaction. Okay, and then can enhance the efficiency. Okay, and also they have the on the privacy part. Okay, so the privacy is also one of the issue, but here using the blockchain, even though they use the public database, the user can view the transaction, but the user are unable to access the confidential data. Okay, and then in terms of security, the blockchain is difficult to corrupt. Okay, because there is no single point of failure here. So you can read through what the advantages here related to the security and provenance. Okay, and then they also have the challenges here. Kalau you refer the text, they have list down 3 challenges of using the blockchain. Okay, in terms of cost, loss of privacy, confidentiality, and susceptibility. Alright, okay, I want you to go through nanti. And then one thing also you relate to the real case. You can see focus 1.3. That one also the good example. The current and planned uses of blockchain. Okay, so this is where the survey done by Deloitte. Okay, so you can read through that one. Okay, then other things, advancement of technology is related to the cloud computing. I think you familiar with the word cloud computing. Okay, so this is where they take advantage of high bandwidth of the modern global telecommunication network, so they can use they can enable the user to use browser remotely access to the software and hardware, and also to the database. So they boleh guna cloud computing. And then related to the virtualization, this one take advantage of the power and speed of modern computers to run multiple systems simultaneously on one physical computer. Okay, so you can look at page 44 later. Okay, and then Internet of Things, that one also the popular terms used now. Okay, and then what we're going to discuss detail is on this AIS and corporate strategy. Alright, so if you refer to figure 1.5, the AIS and this corporate strategy. So in this actually the AIS, when they want to design AIS, they can also influence the design of AIS can also influence the organization's culture. Okay, for example, when they have the AIS system, okay, they can control the flow of information within the organization. Okay, so they can make the information easily accessible and widely available. So meaning that the companies or the users in the companies, okay, the culture as a whole, they will increase pressure for more decentralization of data and information, and they can give the autonomy to the individual users. Okay, so that can influence the culture, how they manage the information or data in the organization. And then the IT development also can affect the business strategy. Okay, so for example, the growth of the internet, okay, now has affected the way many value chain activities are performed. Okay, so as we know, the internet makes companies' product available almost everywhere. Alright, so the internet dramatically they can cut costs. So this can help the companies to implement the low cost strategy. Okay, so that's influence their business strategy. Okay, so they can maybe intense the price competition among the companies. Alright, so that can influence the business strategy. And then the organization's AIS also play the important role in helping adopt and maintaining the strategic position. Okay, alright. The information system, okay, they can collect also the financial and non-financial data about the organization activities here. Alright, so the next one, the role of AIS in the value chain. Okay, as we discussed earlier, we said that the AIS, okay, AIS can add value to the organization. One of it is to improve efficiency and effectiveness of the supply chain. So how the role of AIS in the value chain? So as we know, the objective of most organization is to provide value to their customer. Okay, and then how this is we relate to the value chain. So if you refer figure 1.6 or in my slide, okay, they have five in the value chain. They consist of 5 primary activities that directly provide value to the customer. Okay, the first one is inbound logistic. So this is related to the activities receiving and storing the materials. And then the second activities is the operations. This is where the activities relate to the manufacturing and also repackaging. Okay, and then activities on outbound logistic. This is the distribution activities or shipping. And then marketing and sales relate to the advertising and selling the product to the customer. And service, so service is more to the after service, after sales service. Okay, for example, repair and the maintenance. So these 5 activities also being supported by the activities, we call it as the secondary activities or support activities. Okay, so in the companies, okay, they can group into 4 categories. Firm infrastructure, that consists of accounting, finance, legal, general administrative. Okay, so these activities, the firm infrastructure, they can allow the organization to function, and this is the AIS also part of the firm infrastructure. Okay, and then support by the activities that related to the human resource, recruiting the employee, hiring, training, and so on. And then technology, so this is activities to improve the product or services, including the research and development, R&D, investment in IT or product design. And the last support activities is purchasing. So this is related to activities to procure the raw materials, supplies, machinery, and so on. Okay, so this supply chain, they will link together. Okay, the different activities, and then they can provide value to the customer. Okay, and then by using IT, okay, using IT, they can redesign this value chain and also the supply chain. Okay, so this is diagram for the supply chain. If you refer to figure 1.7, is the figure that referred as the supply chain. So supply chain is the extended system that includes the organization's value chain as well as its supplier, distributor, and the customer. So actually the supply chain is the integrated between the value chain in the companies. Okay, if you look at on my slide, you can refer to uh, the yellow box. Okay, yellow box is represent the companies. They have Smith Supply Company, pharmaceutical, and customer. So actually this is 3 different companies, and in each of the companies they have their own value chain. Okay, and then you can see the value chain in Smith Supply. So this is the supplier to the pharmaceutical company. So they relate the value chain in supply in the Smith Supply to the value chain in the pharmaceutical. And then pharmaceutical value chain also can be related to the customer value chain. So this is that we call as a whole. This one we call it as we know it as supply chain. Okay, so in this example, the inbound logistic of the pharmaceutical, they will link to the outbound logistic of the supplier, meaning the supplier, okay, they are outbound. Okay, outbound just now is related to the activity to distribute. Okay, so distribution, the supplier, from the supplier, okay, they can link to the inbound logistic in pharmaceutical. Okay, and then also the outbound logistic in the pharmaceutical also can be linked to their customer pharmacy. So customer pharmacy will relate to the activities to the inbound logistic. Okay, so the linking of this separate value chain create the larger system that known as the supply chain. So the information technology, they can facilitate these synergistic linkages that can improve the performance of each company's value chain. Okay, for example, that kalau we can take example SNS, okay, how they can improve the purchasing and inbound logistic activity. They can implement the just in time inventory management system. So they can implement the more efficient just-in-time inventory management system so that they can reduce the cost and also can minimize the capital tied up in the inventory. So they can link their inbound logistic or purchasing logistic with the supplier, with their supplier. Okay, so they can reduce the cost, and then also can they can also have more detail on timely information about the inventory needs to the supplier. So the SNS also can provide detail and timely information to the SNS suppliers. What are their inventory needs? So the suppliers can more efficiently plan their production schedule, and then they can, and part of it also they can lower down the product cost. So this is where the linkages, then the role of information technology, they can facilitate the synergetics or efficiency, improve the performance for the company's value chain. Alright, so okay, so with that actually we finish on the learning outcome number 3. Alright, in the next chapter 2, we're going to discuss detail on the transaction processing and ERP system. Okay, so this is we're going to know how the transaction processing took place, and because the details also you need to relate to the cycles that we discussed, the 5 cycles just now. Alright, so if you have any questions or issues, okay, relating to the chapter 1, you can comments in Telegram groups, or you can also give the comments or raise the questions in Padlet platform. Okay, so I will upload all these 3 videos in both platform, Google Classroom and also using the Padlet. Okay, so if you have any question, you just can ask me in the Telegram group, or you can personal message me. Alright, so and also I want you to read, okay, the focus 1.3, focus 1.2. Okay, so that's give you the picture of the advancement technology and also can relate to real situation or real case. Okay, so actually when you read through the real case, and they can give you the clear more on the situation on the advancement of the information technology, right? So that can give more understanding about the topics that we discussed today on the chapter 1. Okay, so with that, thank you very much. So I see you on the next chapter 2 on the next video. Alright, Assalamualaikum and a very good day.